Hello everyone and welcome back to Secrets in Dragon Ball Games. We've already covered perhaps the most famous case of the Mandela Effect in Dragon Ball games, i.e. future Gohan with only one arm being present in Tenkaichi 3, which, despite what everyone thought, turned out to be untrue. Now this next one isn't nearly as famous, but I'm curious to see if anyone else has experienced it. If I asked whether you remember Majin Buu emitting those fumes in Tenkaichi 3 while charging, what would you say? This is something one of my friends brought up recently, and naturally, I said that I do. Coincidentally, he thought so too, but unfortunately for both of us, we were wrong. Shortly after, I went on to test this in BT3, and to my surprise, the steam effect was nowhere to be seen. So then, what gives? Why did both of us have the same false memory? Well, the explanation is actually quite simple. It's because both of us played Tenkaichi 2. If you attempt to charge Ki with any of the boos, this happens. Yep. It works in BT2, but why doesn't it work in 3? It's even more puzzling when you consider that even the first game had it. Tenkaichi 2 improved the effects, and then Tenkaichi 3 just straight up removed it. This was an unfortunate trend that BT3 followed. We already went over some of the features that were present in 2 but not in 3. I suppose Buu's fumes are just going to be another addition to the cut content list. Oh, also a thing worth mentioning. Out of curiosity, I went on to test Buu's charging animation on basically all main console games, and apart from Raging Blast 2 and Ultimate Tenkaichi, none of the other games had it. Strange, right? I could have sworn more games had it. I mean, it's not exactly a feature worth complaining about, but it's appreciated whenever they remember to include it. Some time had passed since I finished writing this section of the video, and I assumed that would be the end of it. But little did I know, things were about to get much more interesting. I was randomly browsing Zen Market, a Japan proxy shopping service that is also our sponsor for today's video, but more on them in a little bit. After 3 to 4 minutes of looking for Japan exclusive video game goodies, a certain gray cover box caught my eye. Glorious, isn't it? A Japan demo prototype of Budokai Tenkaichi 3. But before we examine the beta build of Tenkaichi 3, I first have to give a quick shout out to our partner for this video, Zen Market. Want to buy cool exclusive Japanese goodies but can't because you're not from Japan, don't speak Japanese, or maybe the store you're trying to buy from doesn't want to ship outside of Japan? Well, that's where Zen Market steps in. Buy from over 10,000 Japanese stores including Amazon, Rakuten, Mercari, and many more. If by some chance the site you want to shop from isn't directly integrated into Zen Market, you can simply copy the item link and paste it into the Zen Market search bar. And boom! There you go. With Zen Market, you can buy almost anything from any Japanese online store. And I do mean anything. I sure as heck wasn't expecting to find a physical copy of a Budokai Tenkaichi 3 prototype. But see, that's what's so great about Zen Market. You can literally buy anything. Manga, figures, snacks, clothes, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they got it all. And thanks to their 60-day free storage period, you can buy multiple items and consolidate them into one box, receiving everything in a single shipment. So why not give it a try? Account registration is free, and if you use my promo code KADAZI, all new members will receive 1,000 Zen points that can be used to reduce the international shipping fees. Thank you Zen Market for sponsoring this video. This build of Tenkaichi 3 is often called Tenkaichi 2.5. With a name like that, you can probably imagine how it plays and functions. This version restricts you to selecting 6 characters, or 9 if you include transformations. But here's the thing, even though you're limited to choosing only 6 fighters in 4 stages, this version actually includes all characters and all the maps. You will need to activate cheats to get everything though. And now that everyone's here, let's see if Buu's Steam is present in one of the earliest versions of Tenkaichi 3. Well, isn't that disappointing? I guess they dropped it early on during development for some strange reason. Outside of the original 6/9 characters who were actually functioning properly, the rest of the fighters use BT2 effects and animations, and a lot of them don't even function properly. If Trunks' Super Rush attack connects, both you and your opponent will be trapped in an endless loop until your opponent's HP drops to 0. Goku's Spirit Bomb is missing a good portion of its animation, but that doesn't stop it from doing some crazy damage. A lot of super attacks have a key cost of 2 instead of the usual 3, and most of the features like beam clashes and battle damage are completely missing. It's funny that this build was released closer to Tenkaichi 3's launch than the Sparking Zero demo was to its release. If they were able to refine Tenkaichi 3 within those 3 to 4 months, I'm confident they can fix all the pesky bugs in Sparking Zero. Also, if you want to learn more about this build from Tenkaichi 3, you can check out the Cutting Room Floor article by Weave. I was casually scrolling on my phone, watching some YouTube, when suddenly a notification popped up. Someone left quite an interesting comment under my latest video. The commenter stated that they saw a video of someone playing Tenkaichi 2 in which the Give Me Your Energy skill successfully drained the opponent's energy and knocked them out of the max energy state. I know the Spirit Bomb collects energy from the user's surroundings and can even draw from the entire globe if the caster chooses to do so. But can it draw energy from your opponent? This might sound silly, but doesn't the person whose energy is being drawn need to consent? I mean, do they have to be willing to let you take it? Because if not, the Spirit Bomb could be considered quite an abusive move. It's an interesting topic to talk about, but that's not why we're here today. Let's get back to the comment. As weird as his statement was, the commenter did sound genuine, which prompted me to do a quick little test. I selected Goku and Vegeta, charged Vegeta's energy all the way to the max, and activated Goku's Give Me Your Energy skill.
Share your energy with me!
Yeah, I thought so. Goku's skill didn't even take a single pixel of Vegeta's ki gauge. Well, there you have it, folks. Looks like it was all complete bull. The man is back, and this time he's bringing receipts. He says he saw it in the latest Dado Doya video and even left a timestamp. And lo and behold, at 20 minutes and 26 seconds, this happened.
Give me your energy!
I mean, it did actually happen. The man wasn't lying. Dodo's Share Your Energy skill did in fact drain Vegeta's max power gauge. But then, why didn't it work during my initial testing? I did notice that he was playing on the Planet of the Kai stage. It sounds dumb, but perhaps this map has some sort of stage effect.
Share your energy with me!
Again, nothing. Based on all the testing we did, it's clear that Goku's skill doesn't drain any of Vegeta's energy. So why was Dodo able to trigger this effect during his playthrough and not me? Hoping to find the answer, I went to the exact same fight he was in during story mode.
Share your energy with me!
Nothing. Fortunately for my sanity, there's one more thing left for me to try. I noticed Dodo was playing on the very hard difficulty. Perhaps we might get an answer if we try to do it on this setting. And after countless attempts of Vegeta spamming his signature technique, it happened. Goku's Share Your Energy actually pushed Vegeta out of the max power state.
Share your energy with me!
We did it! Right? While yes, we did do it, we still don't have definitive proof that Spirit Bomb drains the opponent's energy. If that were the case, it would have worked on all of my previous attempts, but it didn't. Alright then, why does the Share Your Energy skill drain Vegeta's energy during my very hard story mode testing, but not in any of the other tests? Well, I think it boils down to one thing: Z items. You see, during a story mode playthrough, your opponent will be equipped with different kinds of Z items that vary depending on difficulty. For instance, during the very hard playthrough, Vegeta can be seen using a Z item that makes his Blast 2 attacks non-guardable, allowing them to instantly break through your guard. Whereas on the easy difficulty, this effect is not present. This leads me to conclude that the energy drain effect occurring during the very hard playthrough is tied to a particular Z item rather than some hidden Spirit Bomb mechanic. As to what that particular Z item is, I don't know. I've spent around half an hour scouring through different Z items, but no luck. If anyone knows more, please let me know in the comments. I assume a lot of you know about the What If Super Buu absorptions in Budokai 2. For all of you who don't, Budokai 2 gave Super Buu a skill capsule that allows him to randomly absorb any of the 7 following characters: Tien, Yamcha, Cell, Frieza, Gotenks, and even Vegeta. And depending on the character Buu absorbs, he will gain the ability to use their specific super moves. For example, absorbing Frieza grants him the Death Beam, Cell provides the perfect barrier, and Vegeta gives the Gallic Gun.
How about this?
And some absorptions even allow you to use ultimate attacks. Like I said, the whole absorption process is random, so you can never guarantee which fusion you'll get. However, one thing is certain with these absorptions. Absorbing Gohan will create the most powerful fusion, boosting Boo's attack to 140%, Gotenks with 120%, Vegeta with 110%, and Cell with 105%. Surprisingly, absorbing Frieza doesn't give you Super Buu a boost, which may not be the most lore accurate thing. It was never stated that absorption made Buu weaker, because why should it? When Buu absorbs someone, their power is added onto his own, not lowered to match the person being absorbed or what have you. Let's say Buu has a power level of 1000. If he absorbs a regular human with a power level of 1, that 1 would be added to Buu's 1000, making his power level 1001 after the absorption. The power increase may be insignificant, but it's a power increase nonetheless. The only potential argument for Buu getting weaker was when he absorbed the Grand Supreme Kai, and even then, he didn't really get weaker. It's just that his feral, destructive nature was suppressed after absorbing the Grand Supreme Kai, because Buu's absorption doesn't just work by adding the power of the Absorb B to his own, it also affects his mind and personality, hence why he got softer and less maniacal after the absorption, but definitely not weaker. Now then, I hope you understand why I found it strange that absorbing Frieza didn't give him a power boost. But you know what's even more odd? Take a look at Buu's stats after he absorbs Tien and Yamcha. 85%! That's a whole 15% less than his base form. They had to have done it on purpose. The only absorption that includes Yamcha is coincidentally the weakest one. Sure, there's also Tien, but I don't think Tien's the issue. I think it's just another dig they made at Yamcha. One among many. Cybermen are odd creatures. They're a bunch of genetically cultivated warriors used by the Saiyans and perhaps even the Frieza Force. They make weird screeching noises and use self-destruction as means to take down the opponent, but I never saw them as more than just a couple of gremlin-looking plant people. Until I played Burst Limit. Rather than coming up with some unique enemy types, most of the games like to make palette swaps and use them as fodder enemies. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, it's just something most games like to do. Hell, their existence can even be somewhat justified if we assume that Nappa and Vegeta dropped a bunch of Saiba seeds before meeting up with the Z Fighters. It makes sense why the games like to use them as much as they do. However, with Burst Limit, they did something strange. On the surface, everything looks normal. They do their little dance, nothing out of the ordinary. However, when we use the D-pad to move a Cyberman, things become a little stranger. The animation they use reminds me of those lickers from Resident Evil, but that's not the weirdest part. Notice how his eyes widen? He maintains eye contact with the opponent while still displaying that sadistic, maniacal expression. His sidestep features a quick Looney Tunes-esque tiptoe animation, with the crazed look still intact. I think it's looking directly at me. But the creepiness doesn't stop there. While performing his ultimate, he appears to be a little too excited if you ask me. Especially during this cutscene with Yamcha. And now for the best part. Burst Limit has these heavy attacks that kind of knock the living shit out of you. I think most of you would agree that getting hit by one of these looks painful. Well, take a look at how a Cyberman reacts to a heavy attack. Yeah, you can't convince me that he's not enjoying it. I've been messing around with the free cam in FighterZ trying to get some cool shots, when I noticed quite a subtle little Easter egg. I think most of you know how FighterZ bend and break their 3D character models to create certain shots. It's been covered quite extensively here on YouTube. However, I think I may have found a subtle little Easter egg that went unnoticed. So during Cell's perfect Kamehameha or Solar Kamehameha, whatever you want to call it, you can see Cell power up to his grade 3 bulky form. You know, the form he used to taunt Trunks with. But what's odd is that he never used this form while powering up his Solar Kamehameha in the anime. Even stranger is the fact that he uses it for less than a second before immediately reverting back back to his regular perfect form. If we slow down the footage, we can see the exact moment he bulks up and the moment he eventually powers down. It's always cool to see grade 3 Cell, but why was this form used for this moment specifically? I do not know. Maybe they wanted to add some extra oomph to the attack to make it feel more impactful? I'm not sure, honestly. Here's something many of you might have overlooked. In Tenkaichi 3, there are two types of super moves: Blast 1 techniques and Blast 2 techniques. Blast 2 techniques are mostly signature big burst of energy type attacks like the Kamehameha, Gallic Gun, Big Bang Attack, Masenko, and stuff like that. While Blast 1 techniques typically include the signature skill moves of the characters. For example, early Goku's Blast 1 slots are filled with Solar Flare and Kaioken, two signature techniques he used during the Saiyan saga. Kid Buu has Sleep and Instant Transmission, two techniques that are completely on point for his character. Future Gohan has Evil Barrier, an explosive wave type move he used to defend himself against the androids. And right below the Evil Barrier, Power Up to the Very Limit. This technique lets you instantly power up to the max at a cost of 3 skill points. Your stats are significantly enhanced, allowing you to achieve optimal damage output. Even though BT3 isn't necessarily the most balanced game in the world, they did a good job balancing power up to the very limit. As soon as your max power bar is drained, you will enter a sort of penalty state. And no, penalty state isn't the real name. I just came up with that on the spot because I don't know what it's actually called. In this state, your key charging speed is restricted, causing you to charge about 50% slower than usual. Although, as soon as you get the first 5 key bars back, the restriction will be lifted. All in all, look pretty decent utility move. Or maybe not. When activating power up to the very limit, you'll be completely vulnerable for about a second. This might not seem too bad at first, but remember that BT3 is a fast-paced fighting game, and in these games, a single second can make all the difference. It's here where we segue to the actual thing I wanted to talk about, the full power technique. Similar to power up to the very limit, full power also allows you to enter the max power state at the cost of 3 skill points. You don't get any buffs though. Well then, what do you get? Oh, nothing much. Just some, freaking invincibility frames. In theory, a skill move that lets you instantly enter max power mode without any interruption sounds ideal. But see, that's the thing. This move sounds perfect in theory, but in practice, let's just say it doesn't quite work as advertised. You'll still be easily interrupted, and on top of that, you don't have those juicy buffs that power up to the very limit provides. However, successfully executing it is quite satisfying. Some of you might not know this, but the full power skill has a slight knockback effect that pushes and staggers the opponent if they are within range. It's similar to that burst you get when entering max power, but unfortunately, it's not nearly as effective. The triggering range is kind of abysmal. It's an odd move. Who knows? Maybe Sparking Zero will do it justice, assuming it even makes it into the game. Power up to the very limit is confirmed for SZ, although I haven't seen full power listed anywhere. I'll put it up on the screen if I manage to find it. This next one is probably a glitch rather than a hidden detail, but I think it's interesting enough to mention. As we already know, Saiyans with tails have the ability to transform into great apes in Tenkaichi 3. Some Saiyans need a night stage with a full moon to initiate the transformation, while elites like Vegeta can create an artificial moon and transform at will. However, before they can even consider transforming, a Saiyan must have a tail. Right? Well, Tenkaichi 3 might lead you to think otherwise. In Tenkaichi 3, characters will start to show battle damage if they get hit by a strong enough attack. The feature is great, but it's going to cause some problems for our favorite prince here. You see, Vegeta's battle damaged appearance in Tenkaichi 3 is inspired by his look after being de-transformed from Great Ape during the Saiyan saga. And do you know why he de-transformed in the first place? That's right, Yajirobe. And this wouldn't be a problem if they didn't overlook one thing: the tail. His battle damaged outfit removes the tail, which is cool and all, but they forgot to remove his ability to transform into a great ape in the process, resulting in Vegeta becoming the first tailless great ape. Or maybe not. He appears to grow it back once transformed. Strange. As I said, it's probably just an oversight by the developers without any deeper meaning to it. Also worth mentioning, given that we're covering some of the stranger details, despite not actually having a moon, the Ruined Earth stage allows Saiyans to transform into great apes. The transformation cutscene does show a visible moon. However, when we look for it during regular gameplay, the moon is nowhere to be found. Or maybe I'm just blind. Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu is a Game Boy Advance game that came out way back in 2003. It was developed by the same people who made the Legacy of Goku series, Boo's Fury included. Unlike Legacy 2 and Boo's Fury, which have consistently received praise from fans over the years, DBZ Taiketsu is often ranked among the worst DBZ games. And after playing it for a few hours for this video, I can definitely see why it has such a reputation. The models are ugly, the animation is stiff, and everyone has the same moves. Although it does use Falconer-inspired music, which is always nice to see. Now, I wanted to talk about a few supers in this game. There are 15 playable characters in total, and each character has a unique level 3 super attack, basically an ultimate. You have your standard Kamehameha finishers, Big Bang Attack, Frieza's Supernova, and my personal favorite, the Great Ape Stomp. I like how he transforms into a great ape without a tail. I guess Tenkaichi 3 really wasn't the first to do it. Oh, but the goofiness doesn't stop there, no. Remember when Cell cornered Android 18 and, with no other options left, 18 resorted to firing rockets out of her back? Well, neither do I, but apparently the devs over at Webfoot Technologies do. I mean, it is bad, don't get me wrong. But it's so bad that, at some point, it becomes entertaining. Not entertaining to play though, it's just fun to watch all the goofiness unfold. But you know what's the worst part about all this? The game sold 620,000 copies, which is nearly 200,000 more than Super DBZ did. And get this, it even outsold Raging Blast 2. Yeah. Assuming we don't get any major Sparking Zero gameplay trailers, my next video is going to be quite a special Tenkaichi 3 exclusive video. So yeah, I don't think you're gonna want to miss this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.